Holdings and Sublight Salvage. But there are independent operators around the prom. Most of those jobs are going to take you off station, though. Commandant Sanita might have a couple of folks she needs killed. Bad folks, I mean. Not regular folks.
Sure.
She'll be at the... Chief Junlei might have an errand needs running. She's all tied up trying to fix...
No kidding? I'd love to get a look at this old girl's innards. I bet they're real twisty and weird. In a good way.
Happy to help. That's...
You're real...
Well, thank you, miss. It's not...
Can we move this along? I have a certain...
Are you pulling my leg? You must be one of them long-haul... Goes like this. Back on Earth, before the crossing, the powers that be were selling off stakes in distant star systems they thought had potential. A bunch of companies decided to throw in together and form the Halcyon Holdings Corporation.
Sure.
Then buy up the rights to this here colony. That group's what we now...
Oh, I see.
Groundbreaker was one of the original colony vessels to come over on the crossing. Once everybody been de-thawed and dropped dirt side, the original crew of the Groundbreaker decided they rat... I guess that was the start of our independent spirit. Sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, yeah, probably.
Interesting.
Glad to help. They strip the parts from derelict ships and abandoned outposts. There's some that say they make the derelicts and encourage folks to abandon their steads. Sublight gives me the creeps. I've known folks who went to work. They're on the promenade run by a woman named Lilia Hagen.
Lilia
I'm only
Hagen.
telling you so you know to avoid them.
Sure, right. Definitely I will avoid them for sure, yes. Will not. Will not go near them, that's for sure.
Relative to the board holdings? Not really. They aren't rich, but they aren't like... All right. Be seeing you.
Alright, well that's a big bummer. A wheeler.
This is it. Security. Find out which crew chick... I mean, the Scholar shipped in and out with.
Unless you're here to file an incident report or to inquire about the bounty posting, I must kindly... Got a hot one for you. Captain Gunnar McRed. Just 26... Allegations include several counts of flying under the influence, carrying open alcoholic containers, failure to pay docking fees, resisting
Her right eye's a
arrest,
little
and
goofed.
assaulting not one, but 2 officers. Swerving in the air was more like it. Then he crashed hard and spilled Rizzo's Violet Spectrum vodka all over Officer Hartley. An affront of its own, considering none of us are approved for anything higher than green spectrum. Kicked one right in the kneecap while he poked the other in the eyes. But if our resources clear up and we catch him before some contractor does, I fully plan to lock him in ISO with them 2 officers he wounded. Last tip we got pointed toward the back bays. You and about 6 other enterprising mavericks. It's only a matter of time before someone brings me McRed's head. Or his lucky... I do hope you're the lucky hunter, though.
Okay.
Hi there. What can ground... This is the security. If you're here to report a crime, you'll want to talk... I'm not so good at filing? Folks are liable to start taking your filing...
Oh, that's fun. Okay.
Sure, and stuff from outside the system too, off the interstellar... That'd be awful weird. All right. Less than the... Search me? I mean, don't search me. I reckon you'd have to ask the folk.
Okay.
I picked up this weird signal the other day. It was coming from Monarch.
Here we go again. No one lives on Monarch. It's a wasteland. You were hearing things.
No, seriously. There was a lot of static at first, but then this voice said his name was Graham?
Graham, right. Broadcasting on a dead world full of monsters. Now I've heard everything.
You know, it takes more muscles to frown than to smile.
Who told you that? Graham?
Asshole.
Excuse me, friends.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. The board would like to remind spacers and other travelers that passage to Monarch...
Am I nuts here?
is restricted for your protection. Canyons of acid and sulfur rain are the least of the horrors plaguing the surface of Monarch. Anarchists live as one with the animals, lawless, savage, and unemployed. The board's embargo ensures...
Nice.
Try not to be distracted by the glare of the adverts. Lots of unsavory types about.
Sure, sure. Start here.
Ooh, can we rent an upstairs room?
No. No, we cannot.
Bless my heart. A stranger come knock. You here for a particular reason? Or did the neighbors tell you how good my sugar cookies are? Made without a single natural ingredient, or an oven. Just like store-bought.
What?
I've got a lovely little throw pillow.
Is this an act? Just got some pretty good stuff, actually, but...
It's almost time. Those have been the height of illegality since Stellar Bay turned their noses up at the board. You and I could be thrown to the void just for discussing such a transaction. Lucky for us, Groundbreaker's a free port.
Well, yeah, okay, I was
We're
gonna
outside
say,
of
I
the
thought
board's
we were
control.
okay for now.
For the time being, at least. Now, I only have the one nav key. And they're hard to come by these days. It won't...
Yeah, how much is it? Okay.
Phineas, that old kook. He was quite the dancer back in his prime. Real light in the wallet, too. He still owes me a small fortune. Well, I find I'm in need of a ship captain with a little moral flexibility. Might be this could help out the Groundbreaker.
I don't know, hit me. Hit me.
Do you know Edna, over in engineering? Sweet as a pea, that one. She sent me a recording of a distress signal she'd scraped from the... Curious thing is, it came from an outpost called Roseway. And Auntie Cleo abandoned that place years ago.
Interesting.
Can't say I know for sure,
Sounds like someone poking into somewhere they shouldn't be got into a spot of trouble.
Yeah.
Comm centers don't operate themselves, Captain. Someone had to have sent that distress call manually.
Right. Agreed.
Those corps are cleverer than all get out. Might have been a ruse to keep the rest of the board from sniffing around. You've got an ear for intrigue and a nose for bits. I like that. Here's a copy of the If you should find a secret worth selling, might be I could find a buyer. Corporate big. The more we got the corps fighting each other, the less.
That's fair.
Don't forget to come find old. Might want to acquaint yourself with Junlei Tennyson, Groundbreaker's chief. She's been trying to. You'll find her fretting in engineering. I'd say she's a sweet girl, but.
So she's not sweet. She's a grump.
Anytime, sweet.
Level 8. Look at me. I think we go stealth, right? Well, if you put... Hang on. No, we're gonna dump it all into this. No, revert all, please. We're gonna chunk it all into this so that we can get the tinkering cost down. Need another perk. That seems good. I want that, because that seems to be an ongoing issue for me. Yo. This stuff is free, huh? Maybe sleeve.
This is Halcyon News. Interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the fall.
Damnable thing about living on a space station. No pigeons to
Scheduled to
Sure,
air
sure.
soon, but a scandal
pigeons,
has
yeah.
rocked the league and thrown this pivotal game into question. Both teams have tested negative for performance-enhancing drugs. Our toss ball first. Coaches and referees are debating how and if this behavior.
Probably can't view a full view of everyone else, right? Maybe I could like...
Great Lord! What do you want? Ask the common folk, and they'll tell you it's on account of all the monsters on Monarch desperate to gobble you up. Because that's what the board tells them, you see. I think they made some fool mistake that would make them look bad to the rest of the colony, and they're trying to hide the evidence. Those board folk are real prideful-like. Never want you looking behind the curtain, lest you see their... But old Gladys knows the score. The whole colony's not much more than a diorama. That's why we gotta keep them from getting their grubby mitts on ground... Probably. Every once in a while, we get these snippets of radio chatter. Claims he's transmitting from Monarch, but who knows if that's true. Might be true. Groundbreaker's radiators. But neither... Miss Junlei's supposed to be getting them fixed, but the board can't abide a community that won't bend to it. They've always got one scheme or another running, looking for ways to bring us to heel. Like this heat business. Shameful. But it won't work. No, sir. Groundbreaker's free till the date. Anytime.
How do you do?
Oh, sure,
And
bro.
welcome to the Rest and Go. We used to be the Go and Rest, but folks never knew. Sorry. Business has been slow. Didn't quite catch that. Glass ear? So nothing to fear. Huh? What? Huh.
Sure.
Of course. Most of our supplies come and go through merchants. Company ships and salvage
It's
runs
bright
are
red.
the only traffic we tend to get. I try and steer clear of that creepy fellow in the moon mask. If there's a cost to being a company man, he paid it in spades. Fine, as long as the board keeps... Chief Tennyson holds the ship together, the Promenade holds our economy together, and Sublight is the shoddy jewel in our rest. Our local garbage collectors. That Lilia, she freely admits she planted her roots in Groundbreaker to escape board overs. Our Chief Tennyson has an independent streak. There's a reason the board's embassy is a glorified shoebox, while Junlei Tennyson lives and breathes.
That's good. Oh yeah, can I get a room?
Still getting...
No? Okay. Let's do this. Welcome.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. Do you have what it takes to defend your corporate township from the dangers of alien wildlife and the unemployed? Talk to your local manager about applying for military training and lend your life to protecting our wonderful brands.
Seeking relief from the heat? Till Junlei gets those and we're all sweating buckets wondering when the powers that be are gonna get around. Couldn't say, and I wouldn't be pouring drinks professionally if all I know is we're cooking in our own juices here. Engineer, don't know it. Luck's nothing against the cold void of space, but sure. Only the usual. Marauders all over space.
You ever wonder how...
You ever wonder how folk who can't figure the bleeding edge technology of a spoon can manage to get... There's nobody who knows more about the stations. She doesn't come around here often, though.
Straight-laced. Wound up.
I had a question about your plan, Mr. Vicar.
Of course. The cosmos is generated and directed by the universal equation, also known as the Grand Plan. By contemplating the teleological order of things, one can achieve verity.
Romantic? Bacon
Oh,
with Edna?
right. You had a question?
Never mind. That about answers it.
Well, shells. You know that sound when you've snapped on an injector clip? Ah, that's how you know your weapon loves you back. I got a full line of weapon modification.
Sounds like Bangalore from Apex. Ugh. Tactical shotgun. 47. Maybe I should do the heat thing and then kind of work back. Let's do that. I'll work down the side to do it.
I was wondering what they do with their waste. I guess they just chuck it down here. Where's it all go? How about I stay up top? You know, keep watch. Okay?
Do what you gotta do. We got a lead on some local salvage. One of Groundbreaker's old hangars was bricked until someone found it by poking along the stevedore's headquarters. Oh yeah. Salvagers. Guess they go ahead. Not really sure how much information that gives me. Six 632 days. Oh, jeez.